everybody, Dana here again with more Tuesday tips for leaders of volunteers, and I'm doing a little bit of a slice from my media and marketing magic webinar. I also call this sticky situations because it talks about having sticky messaging for your department, for recruitment, for calls to donors, whatever you want to communicate to your constituents, your community. It should be successful. So here's a fun acronym that's used in marketing all the time for successful messaging. Success stands for simple, unexpected, concrete, credible, emotional, stories. And there's a bonus for success of simple again, just to drive the point home that the simpler the message, the better, the wider appeal, the more effective it can be. And my favorite example to use for the incredibly effective but simple message is Nike's copyrighted catchphrase of "just do it." That's just absolutely imprinted in our consciousness, and it does all of the things on the success list. It's simple. It's kind of unexpected, has kind of an interesting surprise to it, has emotional energy, it's clear, it's concrete, it's credible, and it has that, not just that simplicity, but it evokes that kind of hopeful and positive or action-oriented emotional response. So let's dig into each of these success. So simple, of course, and unexpected means that there's a little element of a surprise, a punchline, a twist. Doesn't have to be a pun, doesn't have to be a joke, but there's just something a little bit unexpected that, like, oh, it just gives you that little extra boost of that message landing and being interesting to people. Concrete, again, I said clear earlier, and that really is a clear message, almost a proverb, almost like an idiom or a classic saying, and that it's relatable. Everyone can relate to "just do it." Also, the favorite 3-word or simple phrase that I think anyone in nonprofit can use, especially leaders of volunteers, is "join our team." And that works for specifically volunteering, support our cause, support our work. So anything that's kind of a clear, concrete, simple call to action is going to be effective. Credible is very important. Brand trust, brand awareness may not be something that's always in your consciousness in your department, but it's certainly happening in your marketing PR department if you're not already a part of that work. Do your best to align with the marketing and PR department in your agency to, cooperatively work to reach out to the community, again, for volunteers, donors, advocates, voters, employment, recruitment, whatever you need to do. You should be aligned in your work so that the public isn't hearing a different message about volunteer recruitment than they're hearing about donor recruitment, than they're hearing about employment. When you're aligned, that's helpful to creating that credible part of a successful messaging or campaign or marketing blurb, because all of that builds toward creating trust. Credible means that something is passing, as the saying goes, the sniff test. It's like, does that seem right? Are they being sincere? That's what credibility is. And so if you say "join our team," not a lot of room to not have credibility, but if the public has had, heard stories about your agency, or there's been a bad PR incident recently, or something wasn't handled well, it's more important than ever to reestablish trust and show that you're improving the agency or going in a different direction to recreate and help that credibility part of success. Now, emotional, this is really the anchor that draws people in and gets them interested in the work they do. People volunteer because they want to, and something about your mission and how you're messaging it, how you're describing it successfully, resonates with them. So you don't have to have everybody in the world be interested in your volunteer roles. Maybe you're casting a pretty wide net for a talent pool and there's a role that a lot of different people can do. Maybe you're doing more specialized recruitment, but something about that is resonating on an emotional level with people, and the way that you're messaging that is a really big part of what emotions are happening. I've talked before about having action, empowerment, positive, hopeful types of words in your marketing messaging. And again, join our team, work with us to ... whatever the specific role is. Those are very simple and effective ways to use successful messaging. And after emotional becomes, that kind of leads us into stories. Stories are the heart of what we do. We want our stories to be informed by the data, informed by the work we're doing, informed by real case studies that back up that the agency is doing genuine good. And again, align with your marketing department as much as possible. But when you're thinking about stories, I'm going to have you do a little bit of an exercise, and I do this in my webinar, so do this on your own. But think about 3 words like join our team that you can use as a catchphrase, and you're welcome to use that and share that. You know, I'm not Nike, I'm not a giant corporation, so feel free to take all of these ideas and absolutely copy and paste and use them yourself. And from those 3 words, develop what's called a 30-second elevator pitch. And that's just a very quick conversation that everyone in the agency should understand and know. That's how to volunteer, how to be a donor, how to support, what the impact and mission of the agency is. And that can just be quick 30-second conversation happening anywhere in the community with anyone who's interested. And then for some people, some of your volunteers especially, see if you can help develop that into a 3-minute persuasive conversation. So not a hard sell, but just this is what we're all about, and that someone is, educated as a representative of your agency, paid or unpaid, to have a really good 3-minute conversation with someone that does gather their interest into being a supporter, an advocate of your work, whether that's as a volunteer, as a donor, applying for a job, whatever the case may be. And again, just keeping it simple. So simple phrases, keeping things at a very accessible language level. It's good to use really a 6th grade language level to appeal to a wider audience and be accessible to a wider audience. So I hope that you will start to use these successful messaging and marketing tips in everything you do as a leader of volunteers. And let me know what you think in the comments below, and we'll see you for Tuesday Tips next week. Take care.